It's Ivy Slater, and you're listening to Her Success Story podcast, a show where gutsy businesswomen share their success journey. Hello, this is Ivy Slater. Welcome to today's episode of Her Success Story. As we are continuing with our Women Leaders in Law series, some of my favorite times during the year is when we do these special series and we get to meet great leaders in specific areas. And today it is my pleasure and my honor, actually, to introduce you to Kelly Culhane. Kelly is the founder and managing partner of Culhane Meadows. Culhane Meadows is proudly shaking up the legal marketplace. Now, you know why I wanted to be interviewing Kelly today, because somebody who puts it in the beginning of shaking up the legal marketplace by offering exceptional, highly efficient, and cost-effective client services provided exclusively by partner-level attorneys with substantial experience from large law firms and in-house legal departments. Kelly is one of the founding partners and is shaking up the way the law firms are done today. Welcome, Kelly.
Thank you. Thank you, Ivy. I'm so excited to be here.
So share a little bit about the start of Column Pay Meadows and this vision that you have made happen.
Sure. So I first want to say, I'm one of four co-founders, cool. Jim Meadows, Heather Hawken, and Grant Walsh. And we have a fifth manager, Kim Verska. And we just had this vision now, almost 10 years ago, that there was a better way to practice law, that attorneys in particular did not need to go into the office. And of course, where we stand today in 2022, you have to be real careful. I would never want to say we predicted everyone would be working at home and this, that, and the other. But we feel so blessed that we realized that to give some life work balance, to permit women in particular to be able to, be in big law, have a very sophisticated practice, maybe quit or take some time off to raise their families or whatever their passion is, and then come back. Since I was effectively I was about to be mommy tracked. I don't know if we can still say that, but I was. And, I was offered a partnership, but I turned it down and decided to stay at home. I really personally wanted to start a law firm where all women, young, old, in the middle, wherever we are, could raise their families, have work-life balance, and still maintain a sophisticated practice. And I'm proud to say all of my owners, but we all felt the same way. And I think that's what we've built. And because of the way we leverage technology, and our culture, which, we really feel strongly about diversity and inclusion, being that we are and I'll give us a little plug, we are the largest women-owned full-service law firm in the country. So, we're doing our best here.
Yeah, I love that the vision you had and how you've made it happen. And your founding partners were men and women who saw this as a way of the future.
Correct. And, when you're a founder, you have two women and two men. I always say, Jim Meadows and Grant Walsh, a lot of times they're in the back because, they're the two guys and we have three female managers. But when we founded the firm, at first it was just the four of us going out there trying to create, the better way. And the more we talked about it and decided this is really something we can't just say we're going to do. We had to make changes to an operating agreement. I mean, the guys had to put the women in charge. And so I say for those men, Jim and Grant, I mean, they have really, they're walking the walk. They're not just talking the talk and getting the big fat salary, to support this. They gave up ownership really and control. So
you're one of the largest law firms in this country owned by women, and you've done this in a unique way. And so for those who are first tuning into this today, can you share a little of your model and how you work?
Sure. So, and there is a very large women's owned law firm on the West Coast. So I will say we are the largest women, WBE national full service. So we are a full service law firm. And if you think a little bit about, we're all most of us are BigLaw attorneys. And it's kind of like taking traditional BigLaw and putting it into a clean room and just stripping out the inefficiencies, stripping out the politics and the high billing rates and the things that I think are really just built into that traditional model that you can't change. So we went ahead and said, look, our partners can work fully remote. They always have since 2013. We have a transparent math-based compensation structure. And I think that's what really separates us from the rest. On January 1st of every year, all of our 70 plus partners around the country, they have the ability to be the highest income earner in the firm. And I don't know that there's any other law firms that can say that.
So, okay. So you just almost had me speechless there. So any partner, and roughly give me a number here. How many?
Yeah, over 70. We're just over 70.
Okay. So over 70 partners, anyone, and it can vary per year, has the ability to be the top biller. It's never this, the managing partners, the people. So how does that work?
Right. And in fact, not to really say, but the managing partners generally we make far less than some of our highest income earners. That's the way it is. We do. I said, wait, maybe I should just work the model instead of managing the model, but it's not just about money. But no, the way it works is, we have, so if you joined Culhane Meadows today, you would take home 80% of the work you do and collect. So 80% of collections, if you did all the work, you get 80%. And then we tier up. So for example, this year we've had the most partners who have tiered from 80% to 90% because they hit a certain threshold. And then they hit like $500,000. And then you go to 95%, if you hit $1 million. And what's great about that, it's almost like an airline. Well, if you hit it in November, that's not really exciting. You have 2 months. We go ahead and you get it for the whole next year. It's almost like your frequent flyers.
I was going to say, so basically you're running your law firm based on airline points.
No, I'm going to get fired when this thing is published. No, and we are not. And in fact, I'm glad you raised that because, you never want to sound like network marketing, one of these structures like skincare, but honestly, we're very flat in terms of, we have one level of partners. And back to your question about how does that work? It's completely formulaic. I mean, I cannot influence how much money partners make, the work they bring in, the originating attorney credit. So yes, if I, was a partner not managing and owning the firm, I could wake up, tomorrow and say, you know what, I'm going to devote my entire month, 2 month, 3 month to developing business. And I can work on that. I can share it with my partners and I could be the highest income earner in the firm. We don't just say there's no ceiling, but there is no ceiling. We don't have walls. I mean, you can't really have a ceiling.
So how many, let's look at practice areas. So just as I continue to understand, and listeners, I know as much as you do. I'm asking these questions. Kelly and I have met, in the past, but I never truly had a true understanding. So I'm truly asking Kelly, as blind as you guys are. So we're all learning together. What are we looking at? Does there certain practice areas? How many practice areas? How many states? How is this working? Sure.
So basically we've got a pretty diverse, we're full service. So it's probably easier to say what we don't do and not to say we are, we're not, you can't be experts in it. You can't say you're experts as a lawyer. We all know this, but unless you're specialized, but we've got, banking, financial services, franchise insurance, M&A. We have an amazing IP group and, I think they're all amazing, but intellectual property and has really taken off. In fact, we have just had a group of 3 lawyers come over to us. They were in Chicago, Mark Partridge and his partners. So we have got privacy, data security, of course, litigation. We really just don't do family law, criminal law, obviously. We've done some white crime, but we do real estate, tech, outsourced general counsel. So really, the whole gambit, just like you would expect at the large law firms we come from. And that's really how we developed. If you're hiring former senior lawyers from large law firms, they have sophisticated, diverse practices. And by the way, don't let me forget bankruptcy and restructuring, because one of our female partners has done we've got a great group, but she will probably be the highest income earner or one of the top 5 in our firm. And she's in bankruptcy and restructuring. So
let me ask you this. In the building, Culhane Meadows have been around like about 8 years now or so.
Correct. May of 2013. So almost 9. Yeah.
What has surprised you in building the firm out this way?
It's so funny because, being a former New Yorker, so little surprises me. Here's what I think. I thought the bar of entry was a little bit lower, meaning, the bar of entry, if you think about it as, paying a government authority to set up a PLLC, and in my case, having 3 others and then 4 others, really close friends. Okay. But that's the easy part, working with good friends, building something. What shocked me was how time consuming it is to build a culture that you really, want to take into the next, into the future. And by saying that, I mean, we all had practices. The 5 of us still practice, but we had very, very busy practices. And I started the call by saying, maybe if we were working the model instead of managing the model. But I was surprised at how much goes into it. And I was a COO and general counsel of another firm. I was on a claims committee of a very large law firm. But it's different when you're managing people who are all officing from a home or a work, working with a client. Maybe you really have to support them in a way that you don't have to support people who are under the same roof. And so back in 2013 and 14 and 15, and really up till 2020, we were paving the way with technology, and we were so blessed that we got a big head start on that. Thanks to Heather Hawken. I got to give her the love on the technology, but I'm just surprised at how much blood, sweat, and tears, and lots of tears. And we've got great people who work for us who have taken the culture that we started, and now they protect it very aggressively. But it is a lot more time than I thought, quite frankly.
So when you look at, the time you spend between managing and then actually working your own clients, how do you balance all of that?
Right. And that's
being a leader of a firm.
I hope my partners would say, well, I think a couple of my partners who I adore would say, wow, sometimes it's a challenge working with Kelly, because I'll say I bring in this work and I'm so excited to do it with them. But full disclosure, the way I balance it is I do a lot of, we have originating attorney credit, and our model is set up that we really encourage our partners to share the wealth. And I'm doing air quotes that you can't see, because, partners here at the firm will work. We have a working attorney model and an originating attorney model. We have lots of great working attorneys. They want to come in, sit down, build their time, do great work. And they really don't want to do the administrative, client development, right? You just want to come in and work more like service partners. And I've served in that capacity. But basically for me, because I am also managing, and this goes for all of our managers, all 5 of us, I think the challenge is we got into this because we not only wanted to build a kind of place that is open and, really embraces diversity, but we also want to practice law. So the challenge for me has been to know when to step back. And I recently just did this. I brought in one of my partners. She is amazing. I'm certain the client at this point loves her better, more, and the client's getting better service. She's, getting great work. That was hard for me because I really wanted to continue with that one project, but I just couldn't. I just could not do it all. So that's a struggle for me personally.
No, that makes sense. And if, as a managing partner, if you don't devote time to working the firm itself, you all lose in the long run.
Right. Like the what we call the client development stuff, not just client development, the firm, like going out and speaking and with women-owned law, which is, of course, how we met, and really going out there and doing, I don't say marketing, but just talking about what we're doing, putting in nominations for different types of awards and things like that, and going to NAMWOLF and being present and sponsoring and CLEs. That takes a lot of time, and I love doing that. But then, you come home to your room at midnight, and we've all done this, and you're like cranking out a document, and that to me has been a bit of a challenge. But we, like, for example, we're talking, and my flight leaves at 1:30 to join my Austin and Houston partners. We're doing just a mini retreat, and we're all going to Fredericksburg, and we're going to have dinner, and Heather's flying in, my co-founder. That is amazing, but that's Thursday to Sunday, right? So you got to squeeze the other stuff in, but I don't think we're unique in that way at all. I mean, we all live that way, right? I mean,
absolutely. And I'll always say, I'm not a believer in work-life balance. I'm a believer in work-life priorities and balancing it.
Right. That makes a lot of sense.
And you're a working mom as well. So that comes into play in addition.
Right.
So what has been, in spearheading this type of model of doing this in a unique and different way, what have been some of the challenges you have seen or felt?
I think early on in particular, and it might've just been me, I felt like clients were really like, God, we loved when you represented us here. And I'm not just talking about me, I'm talking about our partners. I guess cutting to the chase, really making sure our clients that's more the sophisticated public clients who have a board of directors, shareholders to report to, making sure they felt comfortable that we're not all sitting in our kitchens or on our couch eating bonbons. I know we love that. And just practicing law part-time. I no one ever really came out and said that, but I got the impression until they really saw what we were doing and the people we hired. And I have to say, I've got some very just awesome large public clients where some senior legal officers went to bat for us and said, you know what? We need to hire this firm. Well, now fast forward. Now that everybody is working from home, I mean, they're like, wow, yeah, I guess you're right. And by the way, you've been doing this for 9 years, so you know how to do it. So, but in the beginning, I felt like they were like, oh, do you have an office? Well, we had some Regis office spaces, right? And I said, if you want to meet at my Regis office space, we can. But the clients needed to feel comfortable about the brick and mortar. I think that has gone by the wayside. And, there's I don't know, I think mostly just trying to support our partners in several different markets, traveling to those markets a lot because we want, like, once a month before the pandemic, one of the managers was in a face-to-face meeting, and we just rotate. So we're on the road a lot, and, we've got families. So we created this firm because we want to live the dream too, but that's been personally a little bit of a struggle.
Yeah, no, it is 100% a balancing act. And it's amazing for organizations like you that the pandemic has been a gift because it's normalized the playing field.
Right. Yeah. See, of course, you said it much better. The good life coach that you are, professional coach. Exactly. And for example, and I mentioned a little bit, but in Chicago, we call them the Powerhouse Partridge Partners. Mark Partridge and Jordan Leahy and Charlie Geiger just joined us. And I mean, they came from a very robust, IP practice. They had their own firm. And I mean, this is the kind of thing though, that we've been, what we want to do, what we want to continue to do. But to do that, Heather, for example, flew to Chicago and met with them and taught them our IP. I don't know how many CTOs get on a plane and go to meet new partners and say, this is how you work your technology. That is
huge.
Yeah, that's a great example. Yeah, that's her.
And that you have been such early adapters and early advancers in technology that enabled you to actually pull this forward. It seems there's so many law firms out there who are now navigating being, jumping 5 steps forward in tech.
Absolutely. And I mean, we migrated to, we've always we always upgrade because we've always been work from home, but we migrated in 2019. And I swear again, I'm giving Heather the love. She deserves it. I said, I'm a little scared that you pushed us in 2019 to really, really upgrade our tech. Of course, she had no idea what was coming, but I feel like it is what has helped us really jump into the next spot. For example, we have this, I just explained, I was doing an interview. We have a platform. It's basically SharePoint, but we call it the grid. Like, it's really not that hard to do, right? You get a grid, and we call it the Culhane Meadows grid. And you basically put everything your partners need right there. Everything from a conflict check to something we call the virtual water cooler. I can jump on there right now and see a picture of someone's dog, someone buried in snow, someone else saying, help me, my child's driving me crazy. My kids have been off school for off and on between the school shutting down with COVID last week. And today, we got, everyone has kids home and the rest. And I think that type of technology, the way we connect our partners, you can't just set up technology. You have to really enforce its use. And that's something I think we've all really, if someone emails, we say, hey guys, can we take this to Teams? And it really has worked great.
I love it. Kelly, share with our listeners how they could learn more, follow, be educated by you and Culhane Meadows.
Okay, so first off, I'd say the best thing to do is, just Google Culhane Meadows, go to our website, and even if you're not super excited, if you're not thinking you want to join Culhane Meadows, but maybe you're a client and you're like, I just want to know what these people are about. You can click on the button, join Culhane Meadows, and no, we don't track you. You're not going to get blown up. We could do that, but we don't. Hit join Culhane Meadows and just kind of look. And again, this is Grant Walsh has done an awesome job of putting together videos, frequently asked questions, a better way to practice. We've got partner testimonials, of course, our core values and strategic vision. And I think, you can jump on LinkedIn and do the rest, but I really think on our website, you can really learn a lot about us. You can see pictures. And if you are interested, go on the recruiting portal and register. And I promise it won't put you into a crazy email situation. You'll get one email that says, hey, would you like to learn more?
Beautiful. Beautiful. And listeners, what I'll always say at this point in our show as we come to a close, take a moment and say, what's my takeaway from listening today? Jot that down in the show notes and then take that next breath and say, what's the action you're going to take based on what you learned? It's always about listening and the actions that follow through. Kelly, thank you so much for joining me here today.
Oh, and thank you, Ivy. Really, I'm so glad we were able to do this.
Me as well. And listeners, know we come into your inbox every Monday morning with new episodes and great interviews. Hit subscribe. And if you found this interview enlightening, please share it forward to your tribe. See you next time.